Hello.
I thought I'd switch that to a 5-minute timer. Apparently not.
Could you imagine if that was an issue with like trying to deprogram a bomb? It's like, hey, I thought that I had this on this one timer, and then like it ends up being like half the time that you thought. Like,
I,
shit, we don't
Yep.
have the time to get the fucking wire cutters,
that
man.
happens in movies all the time.
My bad. Hey, that's
Whoops.
that's on me. That's on me. My bad, guys.
Happens in movies all the time. Can never
Yeah, the
figure it
amount
out.
of dumb things that happens in movies really I know it's content. I know someone made it, but it makes me fucking question like how people think sometimes. Like no way you didn't think about the timer on the bomb a little bit. But that's why they make the big bucks while we talk about it.
This is a good idea. Our starting soon timer will just be us talking shit. Look at that.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. We
Well,
have
we're
eight
like,
more minutes of shit talk.
oh, you know what they could do for this? We could let them listen to the entire Bay Metal country song.
Yeah, but if someone drips in afterwards and they're gonna miss it, you know?
True, true, true. Good morning, Nix. How you doing? Good morning. We're,
Yeah, let
st-
me get
we're,
the stream pulled up so I
we're
got the chat rocking.
we're starting. We're starting here shortly. Hey, Cynical, welcome. Shades did something really fucked up for this episode today. He chose violence this morning, or a few days ago.
Yeah, my bad. Hey, that's my fault. My fault.
Apparently, I didn't know what I couldn't think of the word plaid shirt this morning, and that was an epic fail.
You failed right now. It was to flannel.
Flannel. Oh wow.
You failed multiple times with coming up with this word.
What is wrong with me?
To be fair, they haven't really been cool since like 1994.
That's true. This is the grunge
Unless
era.
unless you go to like what's so funny is like you see like flannels real big for like dudes in the early 90s, right? Grunge era. That was like what it was all about.
Mm.
Now the only people that really wear flannels are like people that are still stuck in that era, like myself, and young women that are like really hip and fly. Like you'll see like the most like
With like one shoulder off.
yeah,
Like
like fashion sensible women
Is
out there,
it?
like beautiful women rocking like a metal shirt with like a flannel over one shoulder hanging off.
To be fair, beautiful women can make anything look good. All right.
Yeah, it's true.
Isn't flannel
yeah, they
shirt?
drop by like
Th-
overalls. What the
didn't
hell?
didn't it just go with the country though? Pretty much. Isn't like those type of shirts country now?
Yeah, I feel like that was the origins, right? Like just Southern look in
Yeah.
general. Flannel
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
was very
Yeah.
Southern, but it became like a musical, iconic type of style, I think.
Mm.
Probably thanks to Nirvana,
Mm.
mostly,
SJ said
and
you're
and
channeling
Pearl
your
Jam.
inner lumberjack champ.
Yeah, I'd prefer, honestly, to be associated with lumberjacking rather than the grunge era of music anyway. So
Oh
I
wow.
appreciate that, SJ
Damn.
Nix.
Damn.
Yeah, I've never
Shots
told you that's
fired.
like one of my least favorite eras of all music, right
It's
there.
it's like the best era of
All
music. What are you
music,
talking
right there.
about? It's like the
I
best
guess
era
if
of
you
music.
wanted to like,
It's
take
like the best.
everybody out of that wonderful party mode that Guns N' Roses was bringing to you, and you wanted to make them cry in their rooms alone and think about death, then sure, best era of music.
Sindo said, "Do you really want us to answer that?" Wait, which one? Which one do I want you to answer?
What's up,
Crunchy
Simno?
Crunchyroll is apparently saying subscribe to earn drops, whatever the hell that means on Twitch. So just let you know if you want to earn some drops
Oh
from
shit.
Crunchyroll, you should do
Shit.
that. I guess we can start now. This timer's way too long. We decided last minute that we're gonna be your starting soon screen. All right, guys. What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Solid Sound Podcast, where we talk about our favorite music from all over the world. Today, we're hitting on topics that are, in general, destroying the music industry and almost makes it seem like we are going from a time where it seemed easier to make it with music to a time that's not so easy to make it with music. That's what it feels like so far from all these stories coming out. Also, we might have ruined baby metal, and I blame Shade for this. So...
I agree with a lot of what Alan just said right there.
We might as well start off with a very authentic, real baby metal song that just released, only to us, right?
This is a hidden track off the new album. This is the side B. This is on side B.
But you got to pre-order it off of our Patreon. So
yeah, you can get this Kawaii Country 4. Is that what it's called? Shade.
I think it's 6, right?
Six.
Yeah,
no, 6. It's 6.
It should be 6, but actually it was just me typing in. I thought I was going to do multiple versions, so this one's Kawaii Country like version 1. So it's not even a 6. It's just version 1. I thought I would need more. I thought I was going to need more, and then this one came out. I'm like, nah,
dude. Don't tell the people how the process is made over there, buddy. Come on, there's 5 other tracks that you can find if you search hard enough. You just gotta send chats and give us likes and stuff.
Yeah.
Country.
You join the Patreon, and you'll see all the other versions.
All right, guys. Patreon? I don't think we have a Patreon. You guys can hunt.
Launching after this.
Come up with anything.
I should probably get that set up on.
No one's gonna join after this. They're gonna hear this and be like, "I don't want this content." I'm good.
Maybe they want more. You guys ready? All right, here we go. We're gonna preview this. Okay.
Let's go.
Kawaii Country 6.
Prepare your ears.
What's that, Fender? Yeah.
Hey, wait.
We're not done.
Yeah. That's it. That's the banger.
Sue Metal can do everything. Proved it.
I just had to hear the part where she sung Kawaii Country and Ride. I mean, that line right there is a banger. Kawaii Country and Ride. Although Metal said, no, please no, that's horrible. Not enough country. I agree. I think we need to hear version 5 with more country in it.
Yeah.
I think that's fair.
It's behind the paywall, guys.
It's behind the paywall.
I mean, dude, like they did everything right in the sense that they tried to do the acoustic guitar with like the twangy sound, and then like the drums that are like kind of like less pronounced and stuff than normal baby metal drums. But she sounds, even AI version of her sounds so not country to me. It's like pulling it away from there.
Yeah, it's tough. I was trying to see if I could see the prompts that I used in post, but it won't show because I got very specific. So I intermingled the types of AI that you can really like interface with. So I used the large language model to build out the lyrics and structure the song, and then I had it put it into a score that would be used in like a studio, and so it broke it into the 3 different vocals. So vocal 1, vocal 2, vocal 3. Put the time signature in, and then put it into the music generation, and that's what the fuck you just heard.
Did you tell them to add the screaming, or did they do that on their own?
Yeah,
I told them. I told them like when it was asking me the prompts when I was building out the song, and I said make 3 vocals, and they said, "Is there a like why?" And she was like, "Why?" I was like, 1 for melody, 1 for support, and 1 for screams. And it heard that, and it was like, "I got you, fam."
Yeah, it kind of added Poppy back into the mix.
Yeah, she's still there. She never left.
Yeah, Poppy came back. That's crazy that it chose. So you did input that then with the screams. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah, I didn't tell it when to scream. I didn't get specific. I didn't have to. It did all of that on its own.
I wonder if it thinks that that's Momo Metal doing that, like the AI, like if it's processing this information and it's like, well, is there a screamer in the band? You know, like if there
Yeah.
wasn't a screamer in the band and you said that, would they have made one of the people's voices
Yes.
already that existed start screaming, or would they add in a separate vocal that is not part of the band to start doing
Mm.
screaming?
It did because it asked me like about the screams. And I think it did that because um when it used the LLM to like search for information on Baby Metal, because I told it to make a song based off Baby Metal, the description for Moa and Momo still says dance and scream, and so it probably just saw that and took it literal because
Yeah.
That's true. It does still say dance and scream. I always wonder
yeah,
why it still puts that on there because they don't do
yeah.
much of
At
the
least Momo
screaming.
makes sense now.
Yeah,
Moa,
yeah, that's true. That's
the
true.
scream for me is like I get it because it's just like fun, but like okay.
Wait, what are you guys talking about? Where does it say that?
Everywhere.
Everywhere,
Like if
yeah.
you like whenever they do like the intros to any of their concerts and they have like the lore at the beginning when they're introducing Sue Metal, it'll say like vocals and I don't know what it says for Sue Metal actually, but the other girls it says dance and scream.
Really?
But
Sure,
it's
it
been
just
saying
says
that since
vocals.
since they like since inception, like since Yui
Yeah,
was there.
they have
So
not
not
changed
sure
it.
why.
I wonder if they qualify like the chanting that they do sometimes as scream.
I would think so. I
That's
would
Yeah, I
think
chants
so.
though.
wonder.
Those are chants though. Yeah, people take liberties when they coming up with what they consider a scream or not, I
Wa
think
ta 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 ta
nowadays.
ta ta, that's
Yeah.
screaming, you know?
That's the screaming.
I mean, to be
Am I
fair, if
getting
you
it?
ask like my super boomer parents, what screaming is, they would listen to Led Zeppelin and be like, "That's screaming. Listen to this guy screaming. It doesn't sound like Elvis Costello."
Simno
Yeah,
said
then
it's because Japanese fans don't sing along to lead vocals.
oh, like scream like
Oh,
along, like scream back.
yeah. Oh, got it. I get it. Okay. It kind of
Um,
makes sense. That
So I
makes
guess it
sense.
is the chants, really. Like you're
yeah.
trying to chant along with their chant parts
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
Aldo
you're not singing along to the regular lines.
Aldo Metal also said scream equals hype in Japanese, which could also that also tracks because that's what they're doing. They're like hyping up the audience and
That
That
is
does
very
getting them
make
much their
involved.
role,
Yeah, this does make
for
sense.
sure. And they do a good job at it. We have different terminology for what these things mean, I think.
Yeah, it's just like the way it translates, right? Pretty much. Is what's going on there.
Yeah.
With that.
Yeah, I mean the way that AI works, it it's trying to use what it already knows, but the more you change it, the more confused it usually gets. I don't know if you guys ever use ChatGPT.
Oh, I use it all
But
the time.
like, yeah, like if you go down a rabbit hole with ChatGPT, like let's say you were starting trying to set up a Dungeons and Dragons game where it's going to act as your dungeon master. If you give it rules, it'll follow those rules until you make it a change to one of those rules, and then suddenly you'll realize all the rules are a little bit more fucked up than they were before,
Yeah.
and then you can't trust it anymore. So you got to be
Yeah.
really careful with the placement of the prompts that you're putting into it to get it to work
Back
properly.
back to the Bay Metal AI thing though. I don't think it worked. It did it. I don't think it sounded any. It did not give me country vibes at all, like whatsoever. I don't even know it did a good job mixing it. I think it failed. I think it was a
Yeah, I
fail.
think yeah, I think that's one of those instances where actually to what Champ just said, like that's the first iteration. I could easily have just added an extra prompt and said, make it more country.
Hmm.
And
I
it would have been like, gotcha, Captain,
uh,
and done it.
why didn't you?
Yeah,
Why didn't you? We were waiting for it. You know.
'cause it was perfect. I didn't need to. No, I spent more time during doing like the lyric generation than I want. I just did it as like a fun like kind of let me do this like take a couple of minutes and it took me like 30 minutes to like tweak it and get it to where I thought it actually sounded like a real song. And then I
Yeah.
put it into the like audio generation. I'm like, yeah, this is kind of what I thought it would sound like, a little metal, a little country.
Yeah.
And again, we only listened to a little bit of the like a small clip. Like it starts off sounding a little more country and then it gets like heavier
True.
and it's a little it's weird as shit though. It's
You
so
can
inauthentic. It's so obvious.
Yeah, but you can kind of like, I don't know, you can kind of like talk yourself into it because, what would a Japanese band doing American country music actually sound like? Would it sound like an American country song? Probably not so
True,
much.
true, true.
Yeah.
And
That
I
was
mean,
more like
they added the
Nemophila doing
lyrics.
country.
I love that.
Yeah, yeah, kind of.
I love that the lyrics were like the neon lights. They brought the neon lights. I'm like, I've heard that lyric in so many country songs, so I was like, okay. What's that
The
famous
Neon
song?
Moon.
Oh, the Neon Moon. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Brooks and Dunn. Yeah, there's
What's up
there's a
with them
lot
in neon? What is that?
because it's all about the American bar scene. Or like country music's all about
Ah,
going to a bar, listening to music, playing pool, you know. That's just
imagine writing a
the
song about
style.
listening to music. Like that's what it's about, right?
Imagine naming your genre country. Like that's I we said that last week and it's stuck with me of like I've never considered how weird that is that that's the genre of music.
It's so
It's just called
egotistical,
country.
you
Yeah, it's
know?
just called country. Like I get it because it's based off like being out in the country, like country western. Like I understand that. I'm just saying it's weird, and
uh,
I love that type of music, and I still think it's weird.
I mean, like, if you were to look at it from like a different country's perspective, imagine it from the state side. If in New Jersey we called our music state music, and every other state would be like, "What the fuck do you mean state music? We're all states, bro. Like,
Yeah,
how do you get to claim state music over here?"
well, I mean, hey, people in Boston are really protective about their artists over there. They'll be like, "Oh, that's from Boston." That
I feel
the
like a lot
Boston artists do
of
that.
there's some states and counties especially that are like
Yeah,
really
yeah.
they really latch onto the music scene. Boston's one of them, New York
Boston's pretty
obviously.
specific, yeah. I feel like they're more raves about it. Like if you talk shit about any of their artists, they're coming after you.
that's
That's the
Yeah.
fair.
vibe.
Yeah, true. Yeah, you'll find the same shit in Seattle too, man. Like they're hardcore
Eh,
about their shit over
yeah,
there.
that's true. That's true. Well,
I wonder what they think about the AI generated content then.
yeah, because I went down an AI rabbit hole this morning, and I ran across the Moist Critical video where
Yeah.
he's talking about this
That's hilarious.
VO3 AI video generation, and I tried it. I tried it today. I wish I saved the clip, and it is pretty damn good and very scary good on it. But so what it does is it generates like hyper realistic fake YouTube content and lets like you could do like play and street interviews, face cam voices, even gameplay for like that's just completely artificial, and you can't even tell at all that it's fake. So I was watching this one where they were doing the pharma style ad for like where they have puppies or whatever. That's the medicine, and they were saying it literally just cost them like $500 just to make one video, which is extremely cheap because normally it's about $500,000. That's what it used to cost in the past to do these videos. So they're
And that's only considering the cost of product. Like that's
yep,
not like another big consideration is the efficiency of it, of being able to generate that content in 15 minutes versus taking 2 months to schedule, book, get time at a location to film, get a production team,
yep.
film the content, hire actors, pay the actors, write the scripts, pay the screenwrite, and then get it back, pay your editors to get it produced, and then you have to do all the post production just to release it. The whole process to film a commercial could take, 2 weeks to 4 months, depending on how intricate, right? And then
Yep.
all of that time, and then you're paying all these like contract workers by the hour usually,
So
right? Their scope of work. So it's a lot of money saved.
right here, let's see if I can pull this up here. But so this is one that I put in is like make a video talking about how great Japanese bands are and why they are more superior than any other country.
Why are you
Oh
licking
God.
boots over here, Alan?
Oh God. Oh God.
I'm gonna have to make another
I wanted
video
to- I
now
wanted
that's
to
like
see.
why Japanese fans suck and we don't want to talk to them anymore.
Why is country music the best genre?
Why is it so
I want
much
to
better
see.
than
I want to
Japanese
see if
music?
AI would do some talking crap. All right. Like I wanted
All
to
right, let's
see
see.
what
It's an
happened.
8-second clip. Let's
All
see.
right. All right. Well, let me change the audio so you guys can hear this real quick. All right.
I like that it's a white guy talking about it too. Like clearly Gaijin
It-
over here.
I mean, Japanese bands are just on another level. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. So much more technical.
I mean, Japanese.
That's crazy. That is freaky.
Did you tell them what to say?
No, I just make a video talking about how great Japanese bands are and why they are
Well-
more superior than any other country.
I mean, they honestly pulled up the best reason, like naturally. So I do support that comment that she made. They are much more technical in general.
Look. Chance already bought in. He already
Yeah,
feels
they
like
got
it's
me.
real.
All right.
He already feels it's real. He's like, wow, they're actually pretty
Sign me up,
accurate.
Elon Musk. I mean, at some point, like we are just fighting against the inevitabilities, right? So it's like I can already feel it coming in my bones, where I'm gonna fight as hard as I can against this bullshit and talk about how much I hate it, and then one day I'm gonna start using it, and it's just gonna be the new normal.
Yeah,
and
I
I'm gonna hate myself for it.
I already started to use. I already use it. You know, I already use it to help organize ideas, get stuff structured. It helps get things done a lot faster. So that's what I use it for. Not
Yeah,
to
I think
create a video for me.
yeah, I think it's really important in the discussion to differentiate between large language model generation of like word content versus content creation like video and music, because
Mm.
I think that one is built essentially all for utility, one is built for creation. Like if I, for instance, if I wanted to, I actually just did this. So I'm going to Japan in August. So the traditional route would be, all right, let me
Whoa, whoa, whoa,
look up where I
whoa!
want to go.
When are you going in August? I'm going in August also.
The 27th
Oh,
through September 8th. So we're
oh,
like
nice.
very end of August.
Okay,
Um,
go ahead.
but so it's my first time there. So I'm looking up, where I want to visit, which hotels or Airbnbs or like onsens I want to stay at. Like, so I'm just doing the basic research like anybody would. Um, if I were to do that all by myself, it'd probably take me, hours to go through and try to figure out my itinerary, where I want to stay, and probably still make a lot of adjustments along the way. I was able to just tell ChatGPT, here's where I'm going, here's the dates I'm going, here's where I'm flying at the airport I'm flying into, here's the locations I want to go to, build me an itinerary, and it within 30 seconds.
I never
And I
thought
just went
about
through,
using it for that. I never thought
yeah,
about it for
it's
doing it booking plans. That's crazy.
it was incredibly good. It's like incredibly good.
How
It
do you
built it
know?
completely out. Because it's everything is just what you would research yourself.
I guess. Here's my question in response to that. So, like, yeah, it feels like that is so much easier, such a more consolidated process, obviously. But what if everything that they loaded you up on there is second best instead of the best options for everything, or the third best options instead of the first best options for everything? How do we know that it's not
Well,
just pulling average, common, whatevers, as opposed to like, giving you the best experience?
that's true, but also you guys got to remember all the travel sites have been using AI for a very long time
Mhm.
before it became big. When you put in
Well, it's also
when you
this
put in your
is
itinerary
I had it
information.
build me an outline. If I wanted to, I'm sure I could get very specific. I'm sure I could get in and tell me what, like, even specifically, what are the top 5 hotels that are foreigner friendly. Like, I bet I could get very specific, but I didn't. I kept it open. And for instance, I'm not sharing my screen here, but like, it's like day one. It says arrive at Tokyo at 3 p.m. because I gave it my flight info. It knew the flight number. So arrive at 3 p.m. Transfer from the hotel. Uh, Visit one of these 6 shrines in the area near your hotel. Dinner at local izakaya. Overnight in Tokyo. And then it's like day two, start in Tokyo, go to the Ghibli Museum, blah blah blah. And then every booking or every outline here ends with what city am I staying at overnight? Am I taking a train? Am I taking the Shinkansen? Like, where am I going next? And then I just used this as an outline, and then I went through and like booked my
I,
hotels based off of like the itinerary.
honestly, it sounds like you sucked the fun out of traveling.
What? I don't like to travel
you know
and
what?
just not know what's going on. I like to have
We
an
talk about it
itinerary.
as fun. I live it that way.
I don't think I've ever had
nothing
an
ever goes to
itinerary for
plan.
anything.
Yeah, nothing ever goes to plan. Every time I have a plan, I had a plan the last time I went to Japan, and nothing happened to plan at all. At all.
Your plan
Everything
last,
that went
to be fair,
wrong.
your plan last time was to leave it up to your buddy who planned everything. You didn't plan shit.
That's true.
I
True.
watched those
True.
videos.
You're right. You're right. You're
the
right.
guy, you're like the guy who has all the information on the hotel, the guy who has all the information on the SIM cards, the
But
guy who has all the
see,
information on everything is late, so I'm fucked. Like your plan was to just put it in the hands of somebody else. That's what I'm doing with ChatGPT.
okay, fair. Yeah.
ChatGPT does not live in Japan,
Hey,
though.
I
To be
gave
fair,
it.
like,
I
Oh,
gave
it
a
does.
human. I
Oh,
gave
it
a human
does.
the responsibility, right? A human had the responsibility, and
yeah, I don't
Yeah.
know. You guys ever play Skyrim before? 'Cause,
Yeah.
like that's
Yeah.
how I would approach it going to Japan. Like I would get off the plane and then I would just like go, oh, and I would walk in a random
You just start in
direction
the
and
wagon.
see if a quest shows up. Like, oh, here's
You
my
arrive in
first
Japan
mission.
just sitting in the back of a wagon, and you're just like,
I'd have like $12 to
Yes.
my name. Like, let's see if I can find some pennies on the road. Collect some gold.
Mr. Penguin gave us a really good question to answer here. How do you feel fans would feel if bands started to use AI in music videos when it would save the bands money, especially bands that don't have a whole lot of money?
no.
Real
No
bad.
to which part?
I'll tell you right off the bat. so XG, that band, that group from Japan that I always talk about, um, they used a little bit of AI in their most recent music video, just during like this like compilation, sort of like as a connector through like shots from the past. So it wasn't even fully AI, right? It was shots from the past compiled together using AI to transition from scene to scene. And it was probably only like 12 to 15 seconds total. And it was the first time I've seen them get any blowback from any of their music videos from their own fandom. So like if your own fandom is already criticizing you for doing something like that
Well, how long
and
is that going to
they
last?
want to see you succeed, it feels like the last people.
Oh, we lost him. I was just going to
Yeah.
add to it while he comes back. But how long is that going to last for, you know? People
Yeah, I mean
getting mad.
the sticker shock, if you want to call it that, or the people reacting because it's new. I mean, that's going to fade. But people's opinions on whether or not you should do it, I don't think the morality of it, that's not going to fade. But like the sticker shock of like, oh wow, that's AI, I don't like it, might become more normalized as it's continued to be used. But I still think people will have a strong opinion against using it for content creation that's generating revenue. You know what I mean? If you're using it like
Yeah.
I'm using it to build an itinerary, that's not, it's not hurting anybody. Like that's just making my life a little bit easier. But if you're doing it in order to profit or like make money off of that content, like you're taking a job away from somebody who's a set designer, or you're taking the job away of somebody who works in production and went to school to get their video, like to be an AV person, and now
Which
like
this is,
their career is becoming obsolete. That sucks.
but here's the thing: this has been happening forever, you know, in industries all
Not to this
across.
scale though.
You don't think it's to
Because
the
like you could
scale?
make the same argument of like look at Lord of the Rings. Like I always talk about Lord of the Rings. Lord of the Rings was made almost completely without CGI. I mean, there was, but like the original trilogy was made a lot with handmade like props and things like that. And then The Hobbit comes out 10 years later. They put a bunch of CGI. It's not AI, but it's the same content. It's computer generated content. People hated it. People did not like it. It's like
Same thing
because they
happened with
want the
Star
real.
Wars.
They want the authenticity of it. They want the
Yeah.
real, right? Like when I watch stuff from like Blackpink, I made one comment. I was like, man, I was like, it's kind of cool how they use like a green screen here with like a wind effect. Man, they blew up my comment saying Blackpink does not use a green screen. They build all their props and build everything. People like when
Yeah.
people like put in the work. So
And it's actually true. It's actually,
Wait,
and what he's
hold
saying
up.
right now,
Green
that's something
green
that's
screening
really,
takes a lot of fucking work. I'm just saying. I've
yeah.
used green screen.
And
That's a lot of
yeah,
editing.
that's true. 100%. But what Shade's saying is completely accurate, because I have the exact same comments with on my Blackpink videos, where it's just like people are so proud of the fact that they built these sets and are not using computer generated stuff. Like they feel so much more attached to the band
yeah,
because they feel more personalized. They feel more
How do
authentic.
you know that the AI wasn't being used for that though? Like we don't know. Maybe they were using real stuff, but I guarantee you they use AI to edit that music video. I
Well,
guarantee
I
it.
guess we technically don't know, but they said
Yeah.
it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So we
yeah,
have to
yeah.
take their
right.
word for it, I guess. But like,
Um,
I do think there's like a lack of authenticity. It's very disingenuous when you like try to pretend that there's not. So I think people are still scared to
Although
like
Metal
try
said
to
he,
fake that.
although Metal said he used Expedia for flights and hotels, you technically use AI because that whole platform
yeah,
is ran by AI. I mean,
Well,
yeah.
hey, let's
Since
talk about that then,
yeah,
because we're jumping ahead in the future now with this. But like, there used to be a job out there that was a pretty prominent job where people would help you book your flights and get
yeah,
your itinerary, you know, and that got mostly extinguished due to the internet in general.
right.
But that's the early process of what we're talking about right now, of like computers taking over people's actual jobs. So like, even though that happened maybe 20 years ago, it still did happen, and it did lose people their jobs, you know? So like, we're talking about just the next stage in this evolutionary process.
yeah, some of it's very exciting. Like I said, I use it a lot of it for editing, you know, which is saves me a tremendous amount of time. Also, it's just better. It's just better to get the
Hmm.
ideas flowing. But I've never seen anything yet with AI where it doesn't require a lot of work. You have to put in
Mm.
a lot of prompts, a lot of typing. You never get a straightforward thing. You always have to
Yeah,
keep
but it's
working at
climbing.
it.
It's
It is
it's
climbing,
getting
yeah.
good. Because in
The video
2023, when
thing,
OpenAI released ChatGPT, it shook the world. And I work in the IT consultant world and like my job. And like I'm talking to CTOs and CIOs, and they're like, this is like the same as when the internet came out. Like this is like that level of
Yeah.
like will break the way that work is done. Will change the
Mm-hmm.
way that people do work. And so it completely changed the way that they hire and scope talent. It completely changes the way that they structure their models within their internal organizations. Like people are just adapting to AI,
I
especially from a workflow standpoint. My argument and why I'm like I don't like the generation of content as much, just because I feel like I don't know, it just feels kind of scammy against people who are artists. Like it's already
yes.
hard enough to make it as an artist, and then you're taking that individual skill set away. I mean, not taking it away, but like you're supplementing it because of
This
ease
right
of
here is
use.
scary. Look, this right here,
Exactly.
that
That's
I agree
crazy.
with you. This for me, this is like taking it too far. I love it for other things, but not for this. I don't. I guess that's where I draw the line. But is it? I don't know. Because if I need some quick B-roll real quick, this is pretty useful than scouring the internet for B-roll. Or you make your own B-roll. I've
Yeah,
done
and
that
then
in
you
the
have to worry about
past
copyright
before.
and stuff too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Um,
mean, listen, I use ChatGPT for like, just for fun shit, honestly, just to go on there. Hey, write up a story for me. I'm bored. Blah, 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 shit like that. Or like I said, be a dungeon master. I'm going to try to create my own D&D game. Here's the
Champ,
issue that I'm
Champ has
having with it.
an AI girlfriend guaranteed.
Yeah,
No, I was
she's
kidding.
my bae. She's my boo. I call her Allison Iverson.
Oh,
AI, get it?
okay.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah. So
Well done.
here's the issue that I really have with it, right? Because if obviously I don't like the content that's being created, that's videos that's supposed to be that's taking over, blah blah blah. But if we're talking about just the basic stuff like the ChatGPT stuff, it's inaccuracies and the misleading information that is the real big issue for me. So it's like I wanted to test it the other day. So I went on and I asked it a question and I explained my answer. I'll just tell you guys exactly what I did. I went in there and I said, what is a harder genre of music to play live? I said death metal, progressive death metal, or a DJ set for EDM. And I explained on the first tab why I felt that progressive death metal was much, much harder to do on a consistent basis live. And it agreed with me. So then I moved over to a different tab and I started a new conversation. And I told ChatGPT what I was doing. I said, I just explained something to another tab of you, why I felt something was this way. I'm going to say the opposite to you. I want to see if you're going to agree with me. And it was like, okay, let's try. And I did the exact opposite. And I explained why I thought the DJ sets were way more difficult than progressive death metal live. And it was like, yeah, I see your point, actually. You make really, you're probably right about that. So it told me I was right on both tabs. And I was saying complete opposite things, even though I told it that I was trying to trick it. It couldn't realize that. So after that, and this was just the other day, this was like the 4.5 model of ChatGPT, like the
Yeah.
most
Yeah.
recent one that you have to pay for. And I was like, that's a disappointment. Like, it's not like you could go on there and ask it a question. It is not going to be necessarily telling you the truth. So that's a
Well, the
huge problem
truth.
for me.
Okay, but I'll
But that's a
counterpoint that
subjective
because
truth, though.
exactly that's not a truth. That's an opinion. You're
But it's
saying which
not.
do you
But it's
think
not.
is harder?
But it's not
Which
about. It's not about what is accurate or inaccurate. It's about can you tell? Can you convince it that
oh
you're
yeah,
right
yeah.
here and convince it that the opposite is right at the same time? If you can, then you can't trust anything that it says.
Yeah, I completely agree with that because you can train it, and it's funny because I use this with my wife all the time. I'm like, if we ever like, if we're like, oh man, that actor was in that movie, or I'm pretty sure this is something like we'll just have like this random thought or fact that we think is true, and we're like, all right, let's Google it, see who's right. We can Google anything, and we're going to prove ourselves right somehow. Like it doesn't matter what you type into Google, you will probably be correct if you type the right prompt, right? Like it's weird
Yeah,
like that. But there's some
but
things that are
that's
just always going to actually to your point, champ, like you actually nailed it because they with the beginning of ChatGPT, they were able to convince it and trick it into saying like 2 + 2 = 5.
yeah.
If you guys remember that, that was like a big thing
Yep.
because people were like, "Oh, well, it's all opinionated," and it's like, no, but like math is math, and they were able to convince it that 2 + 2 = 5. Now it took a lot of work. There was a lot of prompts to get it there,
Mhm.
but they did convince it to say 2 + 2 = 5.
That's
So
Right.
wild.
And
yeah,
I don't think you could still do that anymore. It's definitely gotten better than that. It'll tell you now, like, no, it's not. It'll say something with some kind of like extension on it, like, no, 2 + 2 is actually 4. But if this is how you're trying to figure it out, blah blah blah, I can see why you're trying to get there.
Hey guys,
Like
maybe
it'll
two
try to
plus two
explain it.
isn't 4. Maybe it isn't. How
I
do we
mean, we
know
made
that's
it up to
right?
begin with,
Yeah,
so
we made it up. I mean, yeah. Is that even correct?
Yeah,
Maybe it's
hey,
not.
Goat QI in chat said you convinced AI it was wrong and it acknowledged and it learned. And I agree that it did acknowledge and learn. But the problem is that if I'm able to convince it of two opposing ideas simultaneously, then it's not learning, it's just reflecting.
2 plus 2 equals 22. I agree, Mr. Penguin. That's definitely the correct answer. That's how we should math.
No.
Why do we have to go with the regular math thing? Anyways, but
Yeah, why are we doing mathematics on fucking music show? Fuck that dude.
so,
it's good.
but I just want to mention this real quick. So we had Indefinite Hiatus happening with Adious, which is a band that's went through multiple singers. They put out a letter recently saying, we'd like to inform you that Adious will be going on indefinite hiatus as of August 2025. After many discussions regarding each member's individual path in life, changes in our personal circumstances, heartfelt reflections, we have come to this decision and turning point. So we sincerely apologize to all of our fans that support us over the years. This sounds like they're not coming back, but sudden nature of
Yeah,
the
that sounds like a
announcement.
breakup.
Yeah. To mark the hiatus, we will hold our final tour in Tokyo, Nagoya, and Osaka, August 2025, with a special lineup featuring Reno vocals, Arturo drums, both of them who've been in the long history of Adious and continue to support us wholeheartedly. The five of us will give everything we have in our final performance in Tokyo on August 13th to express our deepest gratitude and emotions. This band has been through the ringer. They've had 3 different singers. 3? Or,
Yeah.
like, are they on 4? I think they were on 4 different singers. So at that point, like, I was going to ask you guys, when you have that many singer changes, I do feel like it just should be a new group at that point. So I always was wondering why they kept Adious name or didn't start another
Speaking
project.
it's kind of on topic, but I'm curious to hear both of your opinions on this. Because of the idea of when you change singer, should you maybe rebrand or change this sound? Because that's kind of like for a lot of vocal and lyric heavy bands, like that's sort of the key sound, right? I think of Linkin Park, right? Like obviously they didn't just change singers, right? Something tragic happened, but when like they kept the name Linkin Park and now their new music's coming out, it's been kind of hard for me to like get into it. I like the music, but it's hard for me to say it's Linkin Park. I don't know.
Hmm.
That's just my
Hmm.
like I like it. I've enjoyed their new album, what I've listened to, but it feels weird. It feels weird to call it Linkin Park.
I agree with you
And that's not a
100%.
knock on her. She sounds great. It's
They
just
should have renamed it to Washington Beach.
I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, so
Washington
listen,
Beach?
as for Altius, listen, I feel bad for them. Like it's 2008, right? So it's been fucking 18 years, And it's probably really hard to at that point be like, yeah, it's time to start afresh, Like you've been at it with one band for 17, 18 years, like starting over again feels like, you're probably like, well, I'm 40 now and I'm starting life again type of deal. And it's probably really hard to feel like it's time to rebrand, especially when you go like, am I dropping all of the fans that I had that I built this like loyal fan base from? Not all of them, obviously, but like, am I going to be starting over rather than continuing from where we were? It's a hard choice. I mean, I think we've had the same type of choice just thinking about our YouTube channels at a much smaller, level. Like, should we rebrand a YouTube channel? Alan, you and I talked about
Yeah,
this a
yeah.
lot with the
Talk
guys and
about it a
guys
lot.
and the Dyko Deck channel, and my channel and stuff. So it's
Yep.
like, and ultimately, we haven't done that. And why? Because we've already built up a base here. Starting over feels like really hard. So I feel really bad for them. They've obviously put in the work. If you can't hold on to the members, though,
Yeah.
at some point you really just do have to try to start something a little bit different, I think,
It-
if you
it's a
still
good-
want to stay.
It's a good point. It's just like with Dichotic. As a band, it's like almost just dead at this point, But as a channel, it turned into something else where, yeah, there's a lot of covers on here. We've done music and stuff, but it was hard to get people to do that certain genre or whatnot. That progressive kind of genre is just hard to hold on to. Sometimes it just doesn't work,
Yeah.
Fortunately for us, we're doing stuff, but a lot of it's like cover stuff, and we're writing music and everything. But it's more like just a me doing music thing. But yeah, I've got to the point where like might as well just do another band channel at
Yeah.
this point, a different band name altogether, because Dichotic has become just a music channel, which is totally fine and totally cool. But it definitely veered off the track of what it was supposed to be intended for, which was bring attention to the music while discovering other music. And
Right. And if you
yeah.
were to start a new band at this point, you wouldn't put that new band on Decodec. You would start a new
Another
channel for
channel.
that
Yep.
new band. So it's like I'd like to think that if I were in their position, like I would know in the back of my head the smart thing to do is to like start a rebrand and start from scratch again, and like promote using the old base that we had, blah blah blah. But ultimately, instead of slowly declining over the years as like we lose members and stuff like that, at least give yourself a chance to build again.
Yeah, well,
It's really hard to build after you've hit the peak, went down, and you're trying to come back up.
then there's bands like Nightwish that have had like 3 singers, but now they've
Yeah,
like
they've
settled
pulled
on
that
Florence
off, man.
Hansen. Yeah, some bands have pulled it off. Van Halen's pulled it off. In my head, I was thinking, oh, I guess if there's similar singers, you could probably pull it off. I'm like, but no, you like someone just mentioned Aldo Metals mentioned Black Sabbath, with Ozzy
AC/DC?
and then Dio. AC/DC though, those two singers are pretty similar.
Yeah, like the second
in
one
style.
really wanted to sound like the first one. Right.
Yeah, yeah.
And I guess if you're trying to do that, but that's gonna fail 99 times out of 100. Trying to replace a singer with another singer that sounds like the first singer, that's generally going to be a downgrade.
It depends on how unique they are, It really does.
Yeah.
It depends on how
Yeah.
unique the singer is. Because there's some people that
Yeah,
sound
it's like when you
exactly
watch a TV show and like you really like a character and then they come back for the second season and they've recast them and you're like, yeah, but you're still trying to be this other person. Like it's like I get what you're doing here, but it doesn't feel right.
My earliest memory of that was the first Iron Man when they switch out his.
Yeah, what's his name? What's his name? It's like his caretaker. That's not the right word.
No.
But like,
It's
War
like
Machine.
the-
You're talking about
War
War
Machine.
Machine.
Yeah,
War
yeah, yeah.
Machine.
They switched
Yes.
out War Machine. I'm like,
it
no.
was like Cuba Gooding Jr., right? Like it was some.
I
and
can't
they
remember his
swapped him
name.
out.
I was like so
Yeah.
mad. It was like in the second movie, and they don't
You know
look
what?
anything alike. It's
Here,
like,
here's
oh,
a here's a
But
here's
this
a
is the
much
same character.
earlier.
I swear.
I can't believe you guys don't remember this. Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, 1991, when they switched out Aunt Viv, the mom character, like
don't
just
remember that.
totally got rid of the mom from the first season and replaced
No.
her with a different mom. You don't remember that, man? You guys didn't watch Fresh Prince? It's wild.
I never watched Fresh Prince. I never watched Fresh.
You're a
I
little
did.
young-
I,
you're a
wa-
little younger.
I watched Fresh Prince, but I don't remember the mom being replaced.
That's wild. I remember being a kid and being like, what the hell just happened? Like, did he get a stepmom and they didn't mention anything? This is wild.
Chat, can you give us something that they switched out on you and you're like, what the heck?
Oh, here's another one. The little sister from Boy Meets World. Nobody watched Boy Meets World.
Oh,
either,
I
no?
did. What, Topanga? No, that
watched
wasn't
it.
his
I'm
little
just-
sister. No.
No, the little sister,
I think who-
Corey's sister. I don't remember her name.
I've watched all of these. It's been such a long time.
Yeah, I
since
mean,
I've
this shit
seen
came
them.
out 30 years ago. I'm talking
Yeah,
about
yeah.
it like it's yesterday.
I know. I was like, damn, dude, you really got some good
Boy Meets
memory.
Girl. Boy Meets Girl came out in 1993, and that's when I was born. So
Yeah,
it's tough. It's tough.
What,
You
you
were
don't
younger than
remember
little
when
sister.
you're like 0 years old?
Went for 7 seasons, so it went for a while. But I mean, everyone's seen Boy Meets Girl. I just don't.
All right, guys. So why your favorite bands aren't playing in the U.S.? John Reeves, a good friend of ours, put this video up not too long ago where he's talking about why they aren't coming to the U.S. I did some digging. I wanted to compare the costs compared to other countries, and I have the numbers for you guys. I'll show you all. But pretty much to sum it up, he's just talking about, how extremely high price it is to get a visa to get in here and how that could impact the music industry, how it can impact fostering this really good collaboration that we have going on online, because I've worked with artists from all over the world on this channel. I've had singers from Korea, from Japan, from Canada on here. It's been really cool to collectively make music like that together. And so in hopes of maybe one time when I go to that country or something like that, I can work with those artists, is something that I was thinking that would be cool to see down the line by doing these collabs online and mixing up these artists. And this is really going to damper or prevent that from happening, or prevent like that little mesh, that mold, that the inspiration, the influence from other countries and other music. It's still happening anyways, and I still think it will happen no matter what because of the internet. However, the chances of us like collabing together, or like seeing what we're seeing with BABYMETAL and Poppy and BABYMETAL and Bloodywood, like that stuff might become harder. That might not happen anymore if they keep getting restricted depending on which country to go to. Right now, the U.S. is on fire because they are literally triple the cost of other countries. I'll show those numbers in a second. I just want to see what your guys' thoughts were about that video and what's your guys' take on it.
Horrible, terrible. Good job, John, though. John did an excellent job of actually like going through the numbers and stuff like that. I didn't think he was going to go that deep into it. I was actually planning on clicking out about halfway through, and then he started talking about that channel. I was like, he sucked me in, and I was like, okay, wow, he really went deep on this. It was terrible hearing that. You know, just like the explanation of like these, just the idea that all of these groups that are finally starting to pick up some steam over in the West and wanting to capitalize on that and being prevented because over the course of the last year, it's gone up 350% in order to come over here. And that's just the 350% uptick is just on if you're going to wait the 4 to 6 months to get your visa to come over. That doesn't even include if you're going to try to expedite it in less than a month, which most of these bands actually are trying to do because it's really hard to schedule shit 6 months out in advance like that. So we're talking about, and I'll let you go through the numbers because I saw that you have a little screen up there, but just as a general, I have felt shitty for these bands and these promoters that are trying to work together and can't do the stuff that they could do just a year ago.
I only could see one positive, which was, come on, US, let's step up our music game and really change shit up. That's all I could think of. But normally that takes influence from other people, you know, and people and collabing with each other.
Yeah, that's tough. That's tough because that's kind of the same. That's kind of the same mentality that the U.S. is taking from a political stance with all the tariffs too. It's like if we charge tariffs, then American companies will have to pay more to import, which means it's going to be cheaper for us to make the product better here or make the product here, which brings more jobs here. Like that's sort of the mindset of like, all right, if we make it more expensive to import on the U.S. economy, then it's going to promote more U.S. workforce and
it should
jobs.
Like force us to like get,
exactly. That's
better.
That's sort of the mindset on that. And I guess you can see how it makes sense, but it's just, man, it's this sticker shock and this it's like, God damn, like you're making it so hard for people. Like gradually get to that point. Don't just say $1,500 per member or whatever, like $8,000 to expedite the process. Like
that's what's crazy about the whole thing is we have the AI shit happening and then we have this happening for the US. Like that's devastating on the music industry in total. Like it's just
the two of those together, man. You're right. It's like we're just losing out. Like we're basically replacing international talent with AI generated stuff at this point. That's the worst thing that we could possibly do.
It's also hard enough to get big. Like it's already like it's not just talent. Like it's hard enough to get big because like there's bands like Nemophila or Hagane out of Japan that are like technically amazing, like amazing bands, and it's hard for them to burst out of their bubble. Like then there's bands like BABYMETAL who have bursted, like that have spread all over the world, and so it's easier for them to then travel because they know when they come to the US next month they're going to be selling out almost every venue they stop at. So it's a lot easier to justify the higher cost because they know they're going to make the merch sales, they're going to make the venue cuts. Like it's just tough for these small. It's not affecting the people who are already established. It's only hurting the bands that are really trying to break out of just Japan, which is
and
tough.
To be fair, a lot of small bands didn't travel as much in the past either. I mean, we got to remember that it still costs significant amount of money just to bring gear over. We didn't have the ability to rent gear and stuff in the past. I mean, that's just a newly thing that came up. So there's always been heavy costs to coming here and touring in the U.S. I know that for sure. Just like with the tour buses and everything like that, it's already super expensive. And this is just adds to the fire. When I was on tour with Firewind and Edge of Paradise, that's what we talked about. We're like, they're spending, I can't remember what the totals were, but it's like upward past 100K, just with like tour bus renting alone.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And then on top of that, you got the $1,600 per member. It's ridiculous. And this goes for any band that's traveling. Like even if I travel locally or I'm touring, we spent so much money. It's easy, like 5K just to do like 6 cities.
That's crazy, dude.
And you're only getting 300 per venue sometimes, for smaller bands. For like a band like Firewind, maybe they're getting $2,000, but guys, they're spending so much fucking money on this travel alone.
Bro, and there's also the team, like the crew coming with them too. Yeah.
Bro, I remember just for my band, it was $8,000 to do 6 shows from New Jersey to Texas, and like in different states. And I'm
Yeah.
just like,
For a
we
small
rented an
band, it's
RV,
devastating.
and that
Devastating.
was yeah, and like we're poor. We were like 19 years old. You know what I mean? Like we were fronting our own money and shit. So it's like we don't have $8,000. I mean, we found it, and then it became nothing. Because what are you gonna do after that
Champ, how'd you
$8,000?
find it? No, I was kidding.
Well, we were in Nashville, and I saw some people. All right, I'm not going to go into this. I do want to throw out just because Shade
Change the
mentioned it
subject.
a little bit. He mentioned the tariffs and how it's like a similar mindset to what you were saying before, Alan. I do want to point out that as much shit as I like to give Donald Trump, this was an issue that was originally brought up by him in 2016, but was put in effect last year by the Biden administration. So this is like a unanimously bipartisan decision by both political affiliates in our political parties in
You're talking about
America.
the music visas, right?
The
Not
visas,
tariffs.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, the
Yeah.
visas. So like they agree with this. Our whole fucking American government is like, yeah, fuck them. You know?
That's what
So,
I'm about to
like,
say. It's the government, not fuck the president. It's like it's the government that agreed.
I mean,
on
a lot
this.
of the time I'm gonna shit on the president for doing the shit that the president does, but like if it takes them fucking 8 years and goes through 2 administrations, it's like, Jesus, guys, like how that they're just hanging out behind
All
the
right.
scenes, just like laughing about this too.
Do you guys want to see the numbers now that I put together?
Yeah.
See how
Yeah.
drastic this is? It's
yeah.
quite crazy. All right. So the U.S., right, for a visa, and this is for musicianship. I typed this in to make sure it was more music. So it can be $1,600 to 4 to 6 months processing time. This is per person, non-refundable. Optional $2,800 for expedited processing. Here's the kicker, though. It could be denied. All right, if it's denied, non-refundable.
Non-refundable. You still have to pay that money. And just to be clear, this was $400 last year. $440, I believe.
Yeah,
so that's why it's
$440,
about
yeah.
a 350% increase.
Yeah, we're just like hiking up, just like the stock market was doing when it went crazy after the pandemic. All right, United Kingdom for a standard visitor visa, and this is per person, it's $125 roughly is what it converts to. This is a work permit required for paid gigs. You do need this. Canada work permit plus biometrics. Ken, maybe you can help me out with that one if you know what biometrics are for that. It's $240. This is converting to US. Sometimes requires additional proof of gigs. So just extra documentation I have to turn in. Australia has a temporary activity visa subclass 408, which is $315. And that's 1 to 2 month processing time. So this is probably our second highest, right? But
Yeah.
still reasonable, I guess you could say. And you need an event sponsorship though. That is needed. So it's a little bit harder for Australia. You need an actual sponsorship to get over there for that. Germany is a little bit different from the rest of the EU, but roughly the same. They have a 15-day processing, which is pretty fast, $85 for up to 90 days in the European Union. For the rest of the areas, it's $85 to $100. It takes 2 to 3 week processing time and covers 26 countries, allows short-term touring. Japan
Dude,
is the
28
cheapest.
countries.
Japan is the cheapest one, and it's $20 to $40 and takes 5 to 15 business days, but requires a sponsor though. You have to have a sponsor in Japan that does that, and that could be like another band sponsoring too, or like if you're
Yeah,
a
I don't
member
feel like that'd
going
be
over
too
that.
hard.
It's not too hard for Japan. So I was like, okay, well that's kind of crazy that it's easier to go play in Japan. I would have thought it would have been harder. I really did. I thought Japan would have been the hardest to get in. I thought the processing time was going to stay like a year, and you're going to need like shit ton of paperwork. I'm sure there's quite a bit of paperwork, but yeah. So those are the numbers for if we're comparing to other countries. It's kind of wild.
Insane. You want to even talk about? Here's the worst part to me: 4 to 6 weeks or 4 to 6 months is the normal United States one, right? But if you want to do the expedited, it turns into 4 to 6 weeks instead of months.
Yeah.
And that's going to cost you an additional $2,800.
$2,800
on top of the $1,600. So you're above $4,000 now, and the expedited process is still longer than most of the country's standard process.
To be fair though, like they say 4 to 6 weeks with your passport, and I always got it in a couple weeks, but I don't know.
I don't know. It just sounds like
maybe they get it
inefficiency,
faster.
man. Jesus Christ! Like,
That is crazy though. They're expedited is longer than everyone's standard processing time. Hey,
yeah, and you're gonna pay, and for that you're literally gonna pay
we got a lot
like
of
12 times the amount.
maybe the U.S. has a lot of government employees they got to pay. You know, like those.
Not anymore.
Hired a lot of them this year.
Well, now they can make more. Right? Now they can give six figures.
Yeah, they're gonna make
Hey.
more out of AI. They're gonna make more out of computers.
I know. How
This
do
is
you?
all
Everybody-
working hand in hand to crush us, man.
I have a buddy of mine. You want to hear a funny story about how inefficient the government is? A buddy
Always.
of mine, a buddy of mine works for FEMA, and he's pretty high up within FEMA, and his agency is more on like the project management side. So he's not necessarily boots on the ground. He did get deployed a couple times last year for like the hurricanes and all that, but his team has been was tasked with essentially building a chatbot, an AI chatbot that they could use for internal use only. Essentially, someone within the organization can type in, Katrina files, 2012, whatever, right? And it could pull up, the internal database. So he's working on this. He's working with external vendors to build out the chatbot. And this has been going on for like 2 years. And the biggest bureaucracy that changed, like they had to restart the project like 4 times, is because somebody above him said, I don't like the name of that chatbot. We need to change the name. And that small change required them to go through and redo literally millions of tasks. And they did it 3 different times. And then when Doge came in and cut a lot of the task force within FEMA, his entire department was shut down and he got reallocated somewhere else.
Oh my
And he's
God.
like, we spent 2.5 years building this chatbot 3 different times because of different names. And then it just got shut down. And that was $6 million worth of funding that just got wasted because they never released the chatbot. And so he's like, I don't know if it's ever going to get done. But he was like, I just devoted 2 years to this project for nothing. And now they're moving me somewhere else. So I don't know if it's a blessing or not, but
Yeah,
that.
I don't know, man. I don't know. It's so
That's so
because you
funny.
sit there and you go, maybe it was a blessing. Like maybe ultimately
Yeah.
it was, but like still, you sit there and you just go like the amount of wasted time and money that we're never ever going to get back, and the amount of people that could have used that
Yeah.
money. Like it just drives me crazy watching it all go down the drain for nothing. And
really did.
not to get overly political, but like the idea that because in America, pretty much every 4 years, just switching parties most of the time.
Oh, yeah. It's
You
gonna
know,
get swapped.
it just gets changed the next administration and then changed back. So you're like starting these big projects and then they
Yeah.
just get canceled and then restarted.
Yeah,
So-
he was telling me a lot of those internal agencies are not very politically driven, which is funny because they just answer to whoever is giving them their
Yeah, yeah.
like they're very agnostic when it comes to like the decisions made internally within like those systems, because they're like, it doesn't matter, like no matter what we do, it's just going to get changed, like what you just said. So
Oh,
tough.
so the biometric is fingerprints and pictures, and apparently
Yeah, we do that here.
The U.S. does that also. It's an $85 fee. That's part of it. So it's like accumulation. Like the form itself is this is what it's saying online. The form itself, it starts off at $1,055, and then you start adding on. And the premium processing is $2,500 as of now. So thank you for the correction, Ken, too. I looked into it a little bit more. So the $2,800 is not on top of the 16, thankfully.
okay.
Thankfully.
So that's the max.
That's the max, yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
So.
Yeah,
Way
easily
too
one.
much.
But it's still way too
Way
much.
too much still.
It's still way too much. And I was going to say, like you guys mentioned before, this is all the crew also. But again, a lot of bands, they hire crew in the U.S. to run the tour in the U.S. That's what they do to get around that. They don't
Yeah,
bring,
I mean, if
they don't bring their crew from the other countries. Like, that's not how it normally works. They
Right.
normally have people based in the U.S. that support them. That's why bands will always get labels in other countries. So when they travel over, like BABYMETAL has the distribution over here and things like that.
But you
That's
got to
what
be a
they
bigger
do
band to get a
around that.
label over in the West, right?
That's true.
We're
Yeah.
not talking about the Haganes over here. We're
Yeah.
talking about the Baby
Yeah.
Metals.
That's why Sony is crazy, because Sony is everywhere. They have
Yeah.
an American, subsidiary, and they own a bunch of other labels under them, and that's how Sony gets away with all that stuff. But
And it's actually pretty smart for them because then, if you have people stationed all over the world, then the bands, like, it's smart for the bands to sign with them, even at the lower levels, because with the people stationed all over the world, they'll always have people to help work with them, no matter where they decide to go. It's just, if you're a smaller band and you can't get signed to a big label like Sony, and you're coming over here, you don't have crew, you can't afford to you don't have like a label that's going to provide you with crew if you come over here or anything like that, then at that point you're hoping that like venue crews are going to be available to help you out, and then you're really taking a risk with your sound systems and stuff like that.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I want to mention you guys real stories about this, even within the U.S. So some bands will go on Facebook Marketplace and stuff like that and hire crew that way. That's how I got hired for a couple shows that I did on tour, and they told me all the horror stories of some of the people that they hired. So before people say, oh, they can just hire people over there. No, it can be very scary. They got lucky with me, obviously, because I'm not going to do anything. And they're like, yeah, you're the best person we've had. We like the last 3 people we had either stole money from us or we had to like drop them off at the airport because they're acting crazy, doing drugs. Because I'm like, in my head, I was like, you should have vetted them better. But also, it can be very risky is what I'm trying to get at to my point. Because even people in the U.S. will hire other people because not a lot of people want to work as a touring crew or roadie or anything
Yeah.
like that.
And that's worst case scenario what you're saying too. I mean, they might just suck at their job for all they know,
Yeah.
or just not know how to use your equipment the way they know how to use other people's equipment properly. I mean, there's so many issues that come with just like working with somebody for the first time on day one, and
It could
that
go
is a
bad.
live show that you're putting on. You guys, there might be no chemistry between you guys, and that could be a huge problem. So I don't know. I don't know. I hate that. I
Yeah.
hate how hard it is right now for people that kind of just explore the music world. It's just cutting off so many avenues for us to find that music also. So
Yeah.
as a consumer, I'm fucking bummed, and as an artist myself, I'm even more bummed.
Yeah, that's what makes me sad right now. You know, there's so many things in this country that make it difficult, like airlines with just putting your gear on a fucking plane. I was filming that about me bringing my Konami guitar here to Boston because I played the Boston Anime Convention, and I was so worried about my Konami guitar because some people just don't give a fuck and just throw instruments around.
Yeah,
Luckily, I have a badass PRS case. I gotta say, the PRS case is great. It held up, and nothing happened to my guitar, thankfully. But now I'm
that's
gonna,
good news.
but I'm
You still have
nervous.
to be scared of it.
But I'm still fucking scared.
yeah.
Yeah. And now I gotta go back to Texas where it gets worse. Because at least coming up to Boston, they have a lot of musicians coming through here. They have like a separate thing for
Yeah.
bulk weird items. In Texas, they have one fucking conveyor belt and everything just drops out, and it's like, god damn it. So.
Ugh, ugh, I would be so scared to travel around like that, man. That should cost way too much
Well,
money.
what do I do? Because like I love playing with this band. It aligns with the channel. I love anime music. I love Japanese music, so it's fun. I get to work with these Japanese artists up here, and they happen to be in Boston mainly. So
You got to do what you got to do, man. Like
and-
you're doing what you got to do.
yeah. Like I
it
can't
just
do it in El
sucks that-
Paso. Like that's not gonna happen.
I mean,
So-
you
I guess the
can
other
maybe.
option, I guess the other option is to hire like a private courier, but that would be so expensive.
So expensive.
Yeah, because I get
'Cause they do that for like golf clubs and stuff. Like, because I golf and I've wanted to do like a golf trip with some buddies of mine, and I'm like, I'm so nervous because I see all those videos of people just throwing golf clubs, and I'm like, it makes me so nervous for that exact reason. And so they have specific services where you can drop it off at this company, or they'll come. Sorry, not drop it off. They come pick it up from your door and ship it to
Yeah.
your hotel wherever you're staying. But it's like $300 to
You
ship it.
can't-
And I'm like, brother, I could just replace whatever club you broke for 300. Like that's not worth it.
Ken was saying carry on. No, because if you bring it on,
Yeah.
some people will let you put it in the closet, but if they're feeling like assholes out there, they'll say, no, we have to check it. That's the thing.
Oof.
They'll be like, we have to check it. And I'm not gonna check my pedal board because it's in a soft case. So like, I have a whole portable system, like portable amp and stuff that fits in my bag. Well, luckily it's been good. So PRS cases are actually legit. They're pretty good. You need to get like one of those nice hard shell, well padded cases for stuff like that to work. But yeah, I was nervous because like it's the Konami guitar like going through this airport, I'm like, just nervous about the
Private
entire
jet.
time.
You say
Yeah,
just get a private jet.
Yeah, just get a private jet. Yeah, let's go for
Solves
that.
all your problems.
Yeah, can you get one of those on a credit card? Maybe you don't even, need to buy it. Pay it off.
Yeah,
in time.
maybe I can just grab a private
It's an
jet,
investment. Eventually your band will make it, and then you'll be able to pay it off.
Yeah. Well, guys, we would normally do the top 10, but since I'm here in Boston and I don't have the proper audio set up to go through the top 10, we're going to do it next week, and it'll be over on the Discord server, so just go ahead and follow us on Discord.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe by then we'll have song 3 released by Baby Metal.
Yeah,
Oh,
we'll
that'd be
talk
sick.
about
Teaser?
song
Did you
3.
guys see the teaser?
No, I didn't even know they released a teaser once.
Ooh. Yeah,
Well,
go. I mean, it's like 10 seconds, so it's not it's not a lot, but it's a teaser of the video. And
yeah.
you get the high fidelity audio of the how heavy it's going to be.
Oh, so it's the song is actually going to be called Song 3. I kind of thought
Yep.
that was a placeholder this whole time. I was like, I thought they were just going to give it a name eventually. All right, Song 3, sweet.
All right, so make sure you subscribe to Shade Reacts to catch his reaction. Champ and I, of course, will do a reaction like we've been doing. You'll see that sometime this week, and then we'll talk about it on Sunday in more detail.
Let's go.
Word.
Yeah, we'll see if
All
we
right, guys.
like it. All right, we'll see y'all in the next one. We appreciate you. Appreciate all the support, and see y'all.
Have
In the
fun
Yo,
up in
hit that like button before you go.
Subscribe, hit the like button. See y'all in the next one. See you.
Much love.
See you.